Hey guys, it's Helen Hart-Smith here with
Kathy.
And we are here to do episode 304 Today. The Heart of the Witch's Path podcast. Welcome back. I hope everybody's having an awesome day. It's springtime here in mid-Michigan.
And I still have a cold, so I'm sorry.
But she's on the mend.
I might break. I still have tea and I got cough drops. We'll see if I can get through this.
Right. So, today we wanted to talk about the Sabbat Beltane. Somehow we haven't recorded a podcast about this Sabbat yet, so we thought we would do it this year. But before we get into any of that, let's, it's time for the Correspondence of the Week. And for this episode, we thought we would cover some of the correspondences for Beltane.
Right.
Do you want to get the ball rolling? Or do you want to wait? Yeah, you get the
Yes,
ball.
I'll get the ball rolling. Okay. Because I want to do the third thing. So,
Right.
okay. So the stones for Beltane are malachite, garnet, rose quartz, emerald, carnelian, and amber.
And boy, that's quite the grouping of all kinds of colors, isn't it? So the colors that are generally associated with Beltane would be red, white, brown, pink, and green.
And these symbols, this is why I wanted to go first. Mm-hmm. The symbols for Beltane are swallows, doves, leopards, cats, lynx. What is that? A broom? Fire, and cauldrons.
And I would imagine that broom is because that whole spring cleaning thing.
I'm sure it is,
Cleaning
because
out stuff.
this is the spring cleaning time of year.
Right. The food that's generally associated with Beltane would be dairy products, bread, cereals, oatmeal cakes, cherries, strawberries, wine, and green salads.
Ooh, wine. So the goddesses associated with Beltane are Aphrodite, Artemis, Bast, Diana, I need my glasses. Faunus, Flora, Mala.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I really need my glasses. Venus, Rhea, Rhiannon, Frigg, and Freya.
And the gods that are associated with Beltane would be Pan, the horned god, Baal, Bel, Cernunnos.
Or Cernunnos, depending on how you want to pronounce that.
I knew you would Orion, Frey, and Hern. So you see the theme there. It's all about the gods and goddesses that are, in the prime of things,
right,
so to speak.
The incenses are rose, sandalwood, mint, jasmine, ylang-ylang. Did I say that right?
Mm-hmm.
Peach, musk, or vanilla.
Yes. So those are all correspondences. These are ideas that you can use for altar decorations, if you're into making Sabbat necklaces, or any other kind of correspondence work that you would like to do around this Sabbat. So that is the Correspondence of the Week. So, Beltane. What does it mean to you?
Are you asking me?
Well, a little bit, yeah.
Okay, Beltane is a lovely spring festival that has to do with fertility.
Yes, indeed. Beltane is the time of the year in the wheel of the year where the young goddess and the Lord fall in love.
It's the great white rite where the god that will be birthed in the fall, in this winter, will be born.
Right. So, this is the time of conception. This is the time of fertility. This is when farmers look to planting, all of those things that link fertility with Mother Earth, essentially, and getting the growing cycle underway.
Right.
So, for us as a coven, there are certain things that we like to do, but beings that we live in Michigan.
And sometimes it's a little chilly at Beltane.
Right. We like to be outside, if at all possible. This is probably the earliest Sabbath of the year that we would be outside.
Right.
And that's not always a given.
No.
Because of course spring is rains and things like that. But if everything lines up well for us, we like to have a Beltane fire.
And that can be as large or as small as you want it. We have a pretty big burn pile that if we haven't added to it in the spring, we like to burn it. Mm-hmm. And when I say pretty big, I mean it's probably 6 feet across.
Oh, at least, if not 8.
Yeah, it could be 8.
It's pretty big.
My husband's an overachiever. So, Beltane fire is common, and it can be even just a candle in your cauldron.
Mm-hmm. Right. Because we've done that, too.
We do that a lot.
Inside.
It's kind of chilly still, May 1st in Michigan.
Right, yeah. So we light the Beltane fire for certain, in whatever form in which we do it. Now, one thing that a lot of people equate with Beltane would be the maypole.
Right.
And that was a big fertility symbol, right? That we're talking about the pole with the ribbons, and people would do the dancing and the weaving of the ribbons down the pole, and that's
to encourage the maids and the boys to get together and and do the fertility things so that the seeds would come up and the grains would grow.
Right, because it's all about the fertility. Let's just say that there's not much fertility that's happening in this comment right now.
Well, most of us are I don't say that we're too old to have children, but we're past the birthing age in our lives.
Right.
And one of them is too young.
Right. So, yeah.
She will always be too young.
I mean, we look to fertility for our plants that we grow and things like that, but
for our life plans.
Right.
To bring back.
But not necessarily babies.
Right.
So, so we don't do a maypole, mostly because we don't have a pole. But we do a variation of that.
Right.
And that is our craft. And we do these May ribbons where you choose, if you've got Joann's in your area, they sell these spools of ribbon, and they're usually like 50 cents a piece.
Right.
And what we usually have them on hand for various crafts.
I have several shoe boxes full.
Exactly.
Of ribbons for various reasons.
Right. So we usually have those on hand. So what we started doing a few years ago is everyone would whip out our magical correspondence colors.
Right.
And we would pick 3 colors of ribbon for aspects that we wanted to bring into our life for the next year.
Right. And so you take those ribbons and you take a length of them and you braid them together. And I usually tuck mine in my bra because it's secret and safe there.
Mm-hmm. And they always travel with you.
Right.
Or you could leave them on your altar.
Right.
Or what you'd want to bless them and consecrate them for that purpose, and you would think about those purposes as you're actually winding.
And there are times during the year that I feel like I have to have those. Like I want to bring more of those aspects. I'll put it in my bra again, and I'll wear it to work. Mm-hmm. The thing about it is to keep it away from prying eyes, because this is magic that you're working throughout the year. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I end up tucking it in my bra. A lot of times I've found that I do this, that I want the same things.
Right.
From year to year. And so instead of making a new one, I will actually just kind of reconsecrate the one that I have.
Re-empower it.
Right. And so if you wanted to do a new one, then you would burn the one from the previous year in the Beltane fire, because that, kind of takes care of all that. And then you would make yourself a new one. Right. So, but cord magic is really a good thing for this time of year.
I think we've made witches' ladders before on Beltane.
I think you're right.
Where you braid the cords together with some feathers to manifest your intentions.
This time of year, we usually do divination at all Sabbats, but honestly, Beltane is a really good time to do divination work, because you're planting seeds.
Right.
You're wanting things to manifest.
Right.
So,
And because this is a fire festival, not that everybody's really good at it, but it's a good idea to try looking in the fire or doing some sort of fire-based divination at Beltane.
Right.
Which there are a lot of them out there.
Right. Another thing that we like to do is actually leave offerings for the
animals and the fairies, because Beltane is a big fairy holiday. If you pick up Beltane by Raven Gramassi, which is one of the original Llewellyn 8 books for the Sabbats, he's got like this whole chapter in the beginning about fairies and fairy stories and things to leave for the fairies, and it's pretty interesting.
Wasn't that the time in ancient cultures? Wasn't Beltane or May Day or what have you? Wasn't that also like when a lot of marriages happened?
Yes, because it's all about the fertility.
Yeah, so it's about that bringing forth the next generation.
It's all about the fertility.
Right.
So, and there's a lot of spells in here about, how to find your true love and working fertility magic. There's some stuff in here about flower correspondences and the languages of flowers.
Yep, you'll be planting flowers.
And a lot of the spring flowers are up at Beltane.
Right.
So. There's trees associated with them. So, yeah, there's a lot of interesting information in here. Should we talk about foods?
Yeah, let's talk about that. Like, what do we... I wonder what we're going to have for feast for our Beltane ritual.
I don't know who's in charge of Beltane this year. So.
It's not me. I know that.
I'm pretty sure it's not me, too. So, in this Beltane book, there's May cup wine, there's pudding, custard porridge, the wreath cake. That looks interesting. That really looks interesting.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of grainy type stuff, because you're really, when you think about back in olden times when you were dependent on what the earth was giving you at what time, in the beginning of May, you're not really harvesting anything yet. It's not like Litha where you're starting to get the new the young vegetables from the gardens and things like that. You probably have like fresh greens. We talked about the salad. So you'd probably be finding spring greens that you could do salads with. But I'm seeing a lot of grains.
Yeah, it could be that they were using up the last of the stores from the previous year.
Right.
They were using some of it to plant, but then they still had stuff to...
Right, they still had to eat.
Right.
So that's kind of interesting.
A lot of oatmeal type
and
stuff.
Wine. Drinking the wine because you want the merriment. It was a big celebration. You just come out of the winter kind of a thing. And the earth is, really awake now, much more so than it was at Ostara. Right. So...
Yeah, so a lot of things geared toward fertility and manifesting things. A lot of covens do the great rite at Beltane.
Right. We do not. No. Nope.
So that was really short. Really short.
Yeah. Well, it's a pretty straightforward.
Yeah. Were there any questions that we could cover?
Mm-mm. Oh, we covered the questions in the last episode.
Wow. Well, that was.
Well, it is what it is.
That was a big question. We're short today. I feel like we're short.
Well, it's fine. It is what it is.
Okay, so let's add on this that it's a good time to feed the animals, whether it be birds or rabbits or whatever, because a lot of things haven't grown yet to be able to sustain them.
Mm-hmm. And now is the time when a
lot of the birds have come back into the area.
Well. And also at Ostara, the ground is super soggy still, so it's kind of hard to get outside. But I'm starting to see a lot of people now getting outside, and they're starting to work the yard. They're picking up the branches and different things like that. So Cleaning up, this is the time of year that happens.
Right.
So
it's also a good time to like refresh any, I'm going to use this word, wards that you have on your property, any spell work that's protective.
Yeah, definitely. It's spring cleaning time. So, if you have magical charms or dog fences or whatever.
Which we have previously talked about my dog fence.
Right. So now might be a good time to charge those things and clean those things and prepare them. I know that there are some people that have Inukshooks, which are stacked stones that are done to protect their property, and throughout the winter those might have gotten knocked over and things like that. So now would be a good time to clean that up and start cleaning out your flower beds and preparing your pots and
cleaning
things
out
like that.
your house too. Open your windows, get the breezes through.
Get the stink out.
Run through with some sage.
Right.
Get everything cleaned.
Yeah, so that would be it's a good time of year to do that kind of stuff. So
okay, so that got us 2 minutes further.
It's fine. So all right, so that's gonna wrap it up for this episode. So thanks for listening, and if you
learned something, please like us. If you haven't already, please subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, or just want to tell us what you do at Beltane, please leave a comment.
Definitely.
Or Helen has an email.
heartofthewitchespath@yahoo.com.
Okay.
So that's going to wrap it up for us. Thanks for walking the path for a little while with us. And until next time, blessed be.